8,
9.
10. Uh-oh.
Yes. Why? What's wrong?
I don't know. It just said something weird. Hey, y'all.
What
Welcome
did it
to
say?
another episode of Around the Way Curls. It's your girl Shanti and your girl Antoinette. And we're here bringing it to you live from the 215 and the 216.
No.
And the 716 and the 808,
No. You could
my
have said the
nigga.
215 and the 212,
Okay.
or the 917. 2 and 2
I
sound better.
don't know what your
It's
zip codes are.
212 and 917. What's the New York area codes?
Well,
Hold
you
on.
267, so
What?
your phone number is actually 267. I have it
No, it's not.
memorized. Yes, it is, Antoinette. Oh,
No,
it's
it's not.
215? It is
Yeah.
215.
So much for you
Damn.
having it
Boing.
memorized.
Remember
Oh,
kids was be like,
646-718-917 and the 212. So you could say the
I
215 and the
will not
212
remember any
sounds
of
better.
that.
Just say the 215 and the 212. Damn it, I like that.
Okay,
Oh,
that's all right. I apologize.
sorry.
I'll do better next time. Sorry,
It's
Antoinette.
tricky over here right now for me.
Hey.
This is episode 300.
Whoa, boom, 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 boom.
What the?
Wow.
This is episode 300, and in my head, we were going to do something big. But in my,
Spirit.
we're not. Sorry. Here we are. It's episode 300,
That's
and
good enough, girl.
that's enough. We here 300 times
Made it.
over.
Like that.
We made it.
You made it.
Now that we've reached this milestone, I do have a question for you, though, Sheila.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about this being episode
Girl, ain't
300?
nothing but a chicken wing. You know what I mean? I'm showing up myself. Whether it's 2 or 300. I noticed the growth. I noticed the community that we built. I noticed the friendship that has deepened. Shout out to Around the Way Curls as a agent for change and community in my life. Hallelujah. How you feel?
Um, you kind of took everything I was going to say. I'm proud of the work that we're doing. I am. I think I've learned a lot. It was interesting. We just had someone write us, a kind soul emailed us and said, um, they held me accountable lovingly, and they said, I mess with y'all, I bang with y'all, and I'm going back in previous episodes. And I know that y'all aim to be inclusive, but there's a couple episodes where Antoinette is using the R word, and I'm gonna say it right now just so people know what I'm talking about, not to be disrespectful, but I was saying the word retarded. I was describing things as retarded. She said it started around like episode 197. And that's just some shit that Philly people say,
Young kids.
young kids all the time.
Yep.
And it never dawned on me that it was offensive because I never really thought that anybody really was. It was just like, oh, you stupid. And that was just like synonymous with that. So I guess I say that to say that like I know I now have a heightened awareness, and that I'm aiming to do better. And then I heard her say in episode 197, and it really hit me like, holy, we've been doing this a long time. We've been doing a lot of episodes, and we didn't come out twice a week when we first came out. And so in my head, I thought, oh man, we got to go and we got to get those
Erase
taken
them?
out, or at least edit them. And I thought,
Absolutely
we
not.
don't have the bandwidth to go through all of the content that we've put out, so we just have to be okay with
It
like
wouldn't
what
be
it is.
authentic either.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the community holding us accountable. I feel like I am aiming to do less harm. That I'm like, I feel that I communicate my thoughts better. I feel like I'm doing a better job at explaining and telling a story instead of preaching and barking, hopefully. I feel like you and I definitely communicate better, that we've deepened. I think I understand you a lot more than I ever have, and how to communicate with you. It's probably, I think Around the Way Curls is probably the main thing in my life that if I were to like go tomorrow and if it were to be the thing that represented me, I would be content.
Wow. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be like, yeah, that's who I am. That's who I was. And to know that it's gonna just live out is terrifying,
Oh, it
but
is.
also really beautiful. That that's gonna be out in the world somewhere, even when I'm gone. Yeah. So, and we have more to learn, far more to learn. And I think for me, my goal, the next 100 episodes, is to learn how to be more concise. As you
Next
can see, I'm
100
rambling,
episodes.
more
400
concise, and learn more words. That's
less
my goal.
words.
More words. See, I'm going to be more concise because I'm going to know better words to be
Oh,
able to
you're gonna
explain
know more
myself.
words. I understand.
Not say more
Vocabulary is gonna
words.
be on a on a
Different
hundred
level.
on a beam. Yeah.
On a beam.
I
There's a
noticed you did you subscribe to the email that sends us vocabulary words?
yes.
It gets on my nerves.
Because the words are like, I
We're
never use
outrageous.
this. They're so dumb. And I thought I was helping us. In my head, I thought that we were going to have like an around the way curl vocabulary, like word of the week. And they're such shitty, corny, obnoxious
Word
words.
of the day. Apotheosis.
What does it mean?
Oh, this might be hitting actually. The elevation of someone to divine status.
Oh, we got to use
Deification.
that.
Receiving the Foundation's award for cancer research was the apotheosis of her career. Oh, well, let me take that back. I just need to read that because might could use that.
Might could use it. What's your update, Sheila?
I have a big update to announce to everybody. Remember when I was scared and
Crying on the internet?
in the public? Well, it was because I was on my way to go participate in the 3rd season of Revolt's TV series, Bet on Black.
Woo!
Woo! And so this year, Revolt and Target come together. This is what the series is about. And they spotlight the next generation of Black entrepreneurs. And there was about 12 Black businesses, myself included, and we pitched our business concepts to a panel of investors and industry pioneers. I can't wait for y'all to see the lineup this year of judges. Very terrifying, as well as just exciting experience. And I'm very proud of myself, and I'm excited for everybody. I'm still terrified for everybody to see it. But it is going to air today, October 23rd on Revolt TV. You can watch it and streaming, or you can watch it on YouTube. And again, it's Revolt TV's Bet on Black. Shout out to all the other Black businesses that participated. Very big shout out to Renee Blewett, who helped hand select the Sable Collective. Unbeknownst to me, she just tapped me on the shoulder like, girl, you ready? And I was like, okay. And I swear to God, she was like, hey, somebody might be tapping you on the shoulder to participate. And I was like, cool,
That
cool,
is
cool.
such a Renee-ism.
2 weeks later, I get a call like, you want to come to Atlanta tomorrow and do this? And I was like, okay. So, yeah, I'm
Pitch
excited.
was amazing.
I felt really good about my pitch.
Amazing.
Listen, yeah. And
Don't-
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about this.
Let it air.
And let it air. Let it out. Let it breathe. But yeah,
This is the clip.
I have a lot of what?
This is our clip for the episode.
Oh, okay.
I'm calling it.
Yes. We have a lot to talk about, I guess, or whatever. So you guys listen and share your thoughts on it. And shout out to just the community, the media, the Black media community is very small and very big. So there was a lot of familiar faces. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to Danielle. Shout out to, I'm not even going to drop any more names, but there's a lot of people that are familiar in the media community that I was like, nigga, not you. They was like, Shanti, not you. And it was fun. And shout out to Atlanta and me.
Maybe
Maybe
you're
been there
supposed to
someday.
move
Maybe
there.
I'm supposed to move to Atlanta. I don't
I'll
know.
be so sad, but happy.
Um, what else is going on? Um, last week, that's happening today, but last weekend we got to celebrate Antoinette's birthday in New York. It was a lot of fun,
Mm.
and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And um,
I had a goal, and my goal was met, and so I had fun. I really did. I was invested, and that's all we gonna say about that.
Ciao, it was a good
Ciao.
time. It
A
was a
good
great
time.
time.
Shanti was
Shout out
free
to
to.
Mandy. Shout out to again, Small World. Hanging out with Mandy was a lot of fun, and being around her energy, and
Sweet
we
bean.
get
She talked
together.
about you
She
on
did.
that podcast about how you so kindly she had on cream pants and you laid down paper towels on the floor so that her pants wouldn't get wet
I did.
while y'all were in the bathroom when she wasn't feeling good. But you were like, you can't put your knees on this floor. That you were laying out paper towels on the floor. And
Shout
she
out to Mandy.
that really
Mandy, oh
affected
God,
her.
I
She was
fuck
really
with
grateful.
Mandy. I fuck with you, but we friends. So that was fun. Lots of fun. Thanks for bringing cool people together that
Oh,
to celebrate
thank you.
you.
Thank you for coming up. Shout out to you. You have not missed a birthday in many a year.
Listen,
I'll give you that.
she
You
gonna say,
might,
"I give you that
you
raggedy
might,
everywhere else."
you might
But
not fight for me in the street,
I will
but
fight for you in the street.
you gonna come to
I
a
will
birthday
fight for
party
you in
now.
the street. That's
I
not
don't
true.
know. It
I
depends.
would. It
You
depends on
already
what
told
is
me like,
going on. It depends on what's going on. All right. Somebody step on your Timbs. Amanda's gonna fuck them up. I might be
no.
like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I wouldn't fight somebody over that. You're not gonna fight no listener if they say something mean. You can be like, oh.
No. I'll do better. I'll do better. I'm learning your love language as well. I'll turn up. Bitch, who the fuck you
Security. You
talking
said
to?
it. I will never forget when you said, and I'll never forget on my birthday episode, the one where you were telling people about my birthday, and you said, and we all know the internet's love language is security. That hit me like a ton of bricks. You said it real flippant, but I sat with that and thought, oh my God, it
What's wrong with that?
is.
That's yeah.
No, but it said a lot about me. It was a mirror that I
Okay.
hadn't. Anyway, I don't want to get into that and have me crying on the internet. Speaking of crying on the internet, I might cry today. My updates, there's no personal updates for me because I've just been consumed with what is happening in Gaza in the Middle East. It's really fucking me up. I can't turn away from it. I followed all the accounts. I was already following many. I don't know how I don't know how he sleeps at night posting what he posts
He
and
probably has
seeing
a
what he
team at
sees.
this point as
I
well.
hope because I'm worried about him if not. Listening to the survivors, the Jewish survivors on the Israeli side, and the loved ones of the hostages and their pain and their sorrow, that's fucking me up. And just this deep, deep suffering and I'm not about to all lives matter this because right now what's happening in Gaza is genocide. And that's what's I think hitting me the most because that feels like something that we can actually stop, that could stop. The release of the Israeli prisoners can also stop. The massacre happened, and that's something we have to mourn. But I think that I hate how complicit we are. So much of the media is in what's happening in Gaza, and it's impacting me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having a really hard time sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the slightest thing. I was crying yesterday with my friend. He said like he got mad at me over a very small thing, and I wept, honey. I was like, ah. So it's just I'm feeling a sense of hopelessness. I'm feeling power. I feel
Mm-hmm.
powerless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel really stupid
Mm-hmm.
for participating in the political world and voting and still thinking that matters.
Wait, what?
I do. I mean, I'm still going to vote. But when stuff like this happens, and especially, we'll get into this, when the U.S. is funding it, that's when I just, like you, start to question, like, none of this matters, but it does matter. It has to matter. At least that's how I make sense of it in my head. But I do feel a little bit encouraged, especially in New York. I was driving around because I had some days off, and I saw so many Palestinian flags in a very Jewish area in Brooklyn.
Really?
There's a lot of, and very, very Orthodox Jewish folks.
Wow, internet.
And they were at a lot of rallies and marches as well, speaking out. Now there's a lot of folks who don't feel that way, but I did see it, and it was encouraging. And I saw some interviews online in New York where they were saying, this is not of God, this is terrible, this is not gonna help us get our people back, this doesn't solve anything, Palestinians are not Hamas, we should not be occupying them. It was encouraging to see that. And then I was at work today. Today was my first day back at work, and I wanted to punch everybody around me. And I realized that I realized how angry I was. And I realized that I had misplaced anger, that I just needed to be angry, and that like this sadness was consuming me and turning into like a rage.
Yeah.
But they were complaining about, we got free food today. And they were complaining about what the food was. And it just set me off. I just had to sit there and put my headphones in. And I had to walk around the office a couple times, like around the corridor. Because I was so furious. And I was sitting there thinking like, meanwhile, I had my headphones in. I'm listening to the news. I'm listening to podcasts on it and all kinds of stuff. And this is what they're talking about, that the empanadas were soggy because they were in tin and they should be crispy. Free food. And I was just like, the fucking blind indifference that you have, that privilege. And maybe it's self-preservation, because I know that I have to find a balance. We'll talk about that this Thursday, but I was really, really angry. Angry, like wanted, like not just saying, hyperbole, I wanted to hit something. Like I really felt in my body, like I wanted to beat my fists on something. So that's where I'm at today. I think the birthday was a good distraction. I fell into the hole right after everybody left, though. I won't lie. It was not a good time for me to be off work. I needed to be busy, and I had a really hard time getting out of it. But I do want to thank you and a lot of the listeners, because y'all show me love on my birthday. You showed me love in a post that I took down just because our grid needed it. But
You took that post down?
the one of my breasts,
You
the
took
Janet
that down?
picture, I archived it because it was messing up our grid.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry. I did. But there were like hundreds of people wishing me happy birthday, and I really appreciate that. I also really appreciate the folks who took time and energy and shared their resources with me and just said, coffee on me, sent me a Cash App. And I'm going to take time to shout y'all out. I want to shout out Joy, Shannon, Olivia, Shamika, Jade, Mari, Ruby, Joy again, another Joy, Alana, Rashida,
Ooh, you got money.
Anthony, Taylor,
You got
Preston.
money.
Preston got money. I don't know who Preston is, but Preston.
Listen, pull up.
Preston.
Pull up.
I appreciate you, King.
King.
That paid off a very expensive parking ticket of mine. Thank you. Glencia, Elisa, Deja, Michael, Jasmine, Aaron, Sharday, Charlie, Yolanda, and Jen. That was really kind, and I
You
really,
deserve.
no, I really appreciate it. And a lot of people were like, for research, for research. I guess it helped that it coincided with that episode where we were like breaking everything
Yeah,
down.
yeah. For the labor that was labor. A lot of people were really appreciative.
Yeah. So I'm grateful.
Appreciative.
Thank y'all. Anyway, go right ahead. 20 minutes in, getting stressed. Please rate and subscribe and share and follow us. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, right now Shanti has a wonderful middle part with a leopard shirt on and a nice glossy brown lip, while I have a baseball cap on. But I showed up with a
She's
red
giving
lip for
high
you.
fashion.
And we both have on the same Sable Collective earrings. You can watch us. You can subscribe to our Patreon and see us, get some exclusive content as well. It is a tiered service, and you can join anywhere from $5 to $10 to $1,000 million. Old Trev, shout out to you. You're a new patron. Anya, Giselle, Christian, Edward. That's why you should do this.
Macheta,
Macheta, go ahead.
Quashay, and Crystal.
Crystal.
Shout out to y'all. You know who you are.
Yes, thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Let's take a break, and then when we get back, we'll get into hot shit. Okay?
After these messages, we'll be right back. You see how I looked away?
I
was really
did.
into it.
I thought you was about to really sing it from your
Oh,
diaphragm.
that was me singing from my diaphragm, and I'm hurt
No,
now.
that's your little voice. I've heard you sing from your, when you sang that one note on the phone that night. You hit that note, girl. I was like, wait. No, what were you singing?
I was just screaming.
No, you
I
weren't
was
screaming.
like,
That
"Ooh,
was good.
yeah." And I was doing one of them R&B screams.
Hold on.
Oh,
Let me get. What?
did that feel good? It looked like it felt
It
great.
felt so good.
That really did.
It did. And it's probably all this. The way. I want to know why my hair won't grow. It's because my scalp is filthy, clogged. It's just a mess over here. For real. I'm like, I saw Maya, Shameless Maya. Do you see her fucking hair? Bitch was bald last week. And
It's
her hair
crazy.
is down to her butt. I'm like, what are you doing? How did you do it? I'm about to write that under her thing. You think she'd be mad? Like, you was just bald the other day, girl.
That was years ago, though.
Amazing. Her hair. And
Yeah.
it's so thick.
I know. She looks, it's
And
unreal.
her daughter looks
Her
like her.
daughter looks
Her
like...
daughter looks like her.
No, she don't. She looked just like her father.
No, I see Maya in her baby girl. When they're put their faces up next to each other, I'm like, no, she has a little bit of Maya's face. She's got her dad's color and her dad's hair. Like she looks like both of them, but I see Maya. I really do. She's so cute. That little girl. And she got them little teeth coming in now.
Yeah, she's cute.
God.
She is so
living
cute.
on her farm, living her best life. What a time. Shout out to Judy and Jay. All right. I'm just trying to get this clip ready before I embarrass myself. Because I hate going into this and not having it ready. Are you scrolling on Instagrams? But you saw DJ Envy? I don't know enough about it to cover it.
What do you do now?
He might could get locked up. The feds raided I'll tell you. Because I don't know all of it. I don't feel like being embarrassed. I don't think he's going to. I think his business partner. I don't even know if that was his business partner.
As we see the
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. And we're back. Hot shit. No surprise here. It's all politics. I really, really want to recommend folks. I saw so many people who were grateful for the episode 2 episodes ago where we were talking about where we feel the beginning of this Palestine and Israel conflict started with the British. But a lot of folks were looking for more resources and things. And it's something that I've been looking for. I've been really struggling to find resources that I felt like properly represented both sides. And Channel 4 in the UK is doing excellent work. I still don't know how to get a VPN to watch it. But Channel 4 in the UK, that's literally the name of it. I thought it was like a channel on the TV. That's literally the name of the show or the station or whatever. You can go to their YouTube channel, and they have lengthy videos on there from their broadcasts that are absolutely well done. And they are really sticking it to both sides. They're really asking the tough questions, and they're not biased. Apparently, they are like our PBS. What is that called? It's not funded by like advertisements
Public
or like
radio.
Yes, they're like public. And so I can't commend them more. They've been such a great resource and a great launching pad for me to go to some of the folks that they're interviewing and go listen to what else they're talking about. Also, The Daily has a podcast that's, I will say, it is very difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
But one of the episodes is called Voices of Gaza. And it's a hard one, but I think an important one if folks are interested. Also, someone who's not a stranger to discussing the plight of the Palestinians is Mark Lamont Hill. He actually has a book that says I think it's called Everyone But Palestine. And he's been doing a lot of work. He was let go of by CNN years ago for his speech at the UN, where he talked about Palestinians needing their sovereignty. And he ended his speech with, from the river to the, what is it? What's the saying?
The river to the sea, to the land to the sea.
No. Yo, we about to. Can you Google that? You got your computer right? I'm like, throw me out.
To the land to the sea.
I think is it the land? I thought it was a river. Anyway. But basically, they found that to be anti-Semitic, which.
From the river, forgive us, I apologize. Yeah. From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Yeah. They found that to be anti-Semitic. CNN, in my research, is very interesting. I tend to watch CNN a lot, and I can usually call bullshit when I see the bullshit, but I thought it was very interesting when I deep dived into their politics around Palestine and Israel, and watching their coverage. It's so skewed, like most of the coverage that we've been seeing, but it's so skewed. I was deeply disappointed in MSNBC. They sidelined 3 of the Muslim hosts that they have, and they said that it just happened to coincide with this due to logistics, but I have a hard time believing that. But anyway, Mark Lamont Hill on The Breakfast Club, I thought he did an excellent job. He knows a lot, so he's one of those people that if you don't have time to pause it and look up what he's talking about, like he'll say the PLO, and it's like you have to know what the PLO is, and that was the body that was leading Palestine before Hamas, that was a direct threat to Israel because they were actually for peace, and then Israel started to fund Hamas to break down the PLO, but that's a whole other thing. But you have to pause him a little bit, but he's still an amazing resource. And also Al Jazeera. Just amazing work if you want that side of things. I'm not trying to skew everything towards the Palestinian point of view, but I feel that we're getting the other point of view, the point of view of Israel through our mainstream American television, because we are allies with Israel. And so it's important to be able to listen to both.
Democracy Now! Also has amazing coverage and interviews.
How are you watching Democracy Now! Is it on YouTube? Where is it at?
On YouTube, you can.
YouTube. Yeah. So that's the hot shit for this week for me. It's all about the resources around this. I do want to get into politics. Politics is usually wow, blah. I want to clarify again. I was very nervous 2 episodes ago, and there are some things that I need to clean up. Probably a lot of things I need to clean up, but I want to clarify Zionism does not equate to like Judaism. And I think that that was not super clear in what I said. So there is a clip that I would like to play. We'll break down because people can say it better than me. I'm not an expert on this.
As we see this last Saturday, it was shocking to the world, but the world doesn't seem to take in regard the 75 years that every day almost you have Palestinian death and suffering. But we as Jews do take this into consideration. It's not how I personally look at this. It's how, as a Jew who's observant, who's following the rules of the Judaism, of the Torah, Judaism is subservience to God. That's what it's all about. It's a religion of 3,000 years, while Zionism is a mere 150 years. It's a transformation to nationalism, to have a piece of land. It's a political movement. It's a materialistic movement. It was started by Jews who were non-religious, and they're simply incorporating, using the name Israel, using the Star of David, and claiming that it's a God, it's given to them by God. And we who are following the Torah, who are true to the Torah, stand up adamantly refuting what they're saying. The Torah clearly states that we shall not kill, we shall not steal, and the whole concept is strange, is totally antithetical to our teachings, contradictory. The Jewish community.
You know what? I'm gonna keep going because that part is important.
Have been living together with the Muslim community and the Christian community, and since this movement started, and since they gained hold in the land and eventually got rule over the land, there's been endless bloodshed. There's hate that has grown thousandfold. It's a wedge driven between the Jews and the Muslims, and it's brought death and suffering to the Palestinian people in the majority, but to the Jewish populace also. As we see this last.
So is that more clear?
Absolutely.
So Zionism is about nationalism, and I think we said that, but I just wanted to make that distinction very clear. And then I also think that we should talk about. Oh, you know what? I should say who that was. That is Rabbi Yisrael David Weiss. But we should also talk about why Jewish folks believe that Israel is their land in the first place. Again, this is from my research. I had a hard time finding this just spelled out very clearly, but there were 4 things that were consistent. One was divine right. And in Genesis 12, verse 7, it says that God gave this land to Abraham's descendants. So they feel like this land was given to us. It's in the Bible. It's our land. Prior possession, that the Jewish folks, the Jewish people settled and developed the land. This is thousands of years ago. The Balfour Declaration, which we talked about, that was where Britain made the decree and said that they were going to help facilitate the European migration back, the European Jewish migration back to Israel. And then their military stance, that the territory was captured in defensive wars and it's theirs. They won it. I think that this is really interesting because when we talk about whose land it is, I saw a quote from another rabbi, from a professor at Tel Aviv University. I don't know how to say his name. Shlomo Sand. Shlomo Sand. He's a historian and professor. He said, even when I believe mistakenly that the Jewish people was exiled by the Romans in 70 CE or 132 CE. That's how long we're talking. I didn't think that this conferred on the Jews some sort of imagined historic right to the Holy Land. If we seek to organize the world as it was 2,000 years ago, we will turn it into one big madhouse. Why not bring Native Americans back to Manhattan, for example, or restore the Arabs to Spain or the Serbs to Kosovo? I read that and I thought, if I was Native American, I'd probably feel real fucking different. Like, yeah, put me back in Manhattan. If I was an Arab, I'd probably say, yeah, I'll take Spain. That's my shit. You kick me out. So it's interesting to hear, someone who is Jewish and a historian feel this way, where he's like, we can't restore stuff back to how things were 2,000 years ago and say, this is my right and my claim to it. And so I think that it's important that while he feels that way, I can understand how other people don't, especially if I feel wronged. And especially if I fought wars and still won it. I've quote unquote won the land. And then if Britain also said I could have it. So I think for myself, and I'll speak for myself, I identify with the Palestinians because it's more recent. It's something that feels more tangible. 1948 was the Nakba, right? When they were exiled from their land. And that is like, that was around the corner. That was like right there. This just happened. And it just feels like if another group was persecuted 2,000 years ago and has been persecuted, since their very existence, according to their understanding and their teaching, my question is, why would you do it to another group? So that's where I personally struggle with the idea of, well, this was my land, I settled this land, get the hell off. So it's interesting. But I'd be curious to hear, since it's so close to my realm of understanding, indigenous person respond to that quote here,
Yeah.
like.
And I don't know if he's saying it's ridiculous if it's going to become a complete madhouse if you just drop them back into those spaces amongst the newer settlers. Is that what he's referring to? Or it's just like you just rearrange everything, whoever was there before?
I think he's just saying it would be a madhouse to even go about the logistics of that, to try to sort that out, to even try to go around it, to even try to figure out what that would look like would be maddening. How do you do it? Because now you're uprooting all of these people who had nothing to do with what happened years ago, I think what he's saying is what we can deal with is the right now. That's my interpretation of what he said.
Yeah. I think also it's not so much I feel like humans, since our existence, have been mixing and mingling, right? Have been conquering, have been displacing folks. I think what is always the hardest thing to manage is the violent way in which these things are handled. Like when exiled feels so soft. Exiled feels so like slow and arduous and like here I'm gonna put on this
pack your bags
and I'm walking, versus like here's a gun to your head, run me your shit, or I'm gonna blow your brains out. I'm gonna take your kids will be killed. If you don't leave, you will be killed. It's just
it's like your car getting towed versus a carjacking.
It's a completely different experience and reaction and anger that creates. And again, I don't know that, and I think people are realizing now maybe, and we have the same ignorance for so many conflicts, but I don't know that people understood what actually happened in Palestine and how that land was taken and how Israel was created. I think there's a lot of romanticizing and cognitive dissonance. It's similar to this land. Similar to all the America. It's just like, you know what happened? Do you know what slavery really was? Like, even when we talk about Joe, like, yeah, Joe, people were enslaved, versus her seeing the imagery and understanding what the practices were and understanding what the treatment, what kind of treatment that incurred on people's physical bodies. And I think that a lot of people are realizing, oh shit, that shit happened and it still happened. What? It's a open air prison. What does that mean? Like, so it's just a different kind of understanding of the violent displacement, which is not new or specific only to Palestine and Israel. Again, this is something that has happened in humanity over and over again and has been perpetuated by many races and cultures to each other. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's just so much harm there that yeah, it's hard to dismiss, or it's hard to even rationalize or wrap our heads around sometimes.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the current state of Gaza, because this is where I get very defensive, and I'm speaking for myself, where I'm 10 toes down and this is wrong. I don't give a fuck. And I'm not going to be made to feel like I am being anti-Semitic by saying this is wrong. This has nothing to do with me being anti-Semitic or me having beef with Israel or me feeling like this is Israel's land or not. I have an issue with the humanitarian crisis and the genocide that is taking place here. So after we recorded last week, Israel started to bomb Gaza. First, they demanded that the Palestinians flee from the north to the south, where they felt like Hamas was hiding. And what you have to understand is Hamas has underground tunnels under the city. And so in order to get to Hamas, they're bombing from the top down in order to reach Hamas. But they're bombing civilians and homes and schools. And even with them telling the Palestinians to move, they still bomb the South. And they only gave the Palestinians 24 hours. It's 1.1 million people.
To go
down to the southern Gaza, right? To when roads they don't have water, they don't have electricity, they don't have fuel. Some of them are on foot. Some of them are dealing with the gas that they have in their car, bicycles. How the hell? And the images mirrored the Nakba. It mirrored this mass exile of, we're telling you have to move, and when you get back, you don't even know if you're going to be allowed to come back. That's really the fear, right? So that's happening. Entire families wiped out. These images, children under rubble. And no aid. Aid being withheld in Israel, fine, because they're saying we are not giving any aid to the Palestinian people until Hamas releases our hostages. The numbers of folks that were killed in Israel by Hamas, murdered, has gone up exponentially. They thought it was 1,000. I think it's up to like 1,900 or something like that. It just keeps rising because they keep recognizing that people are missing or what have you. Listening to these people's stories, this mother who got a text from her son saying, "I love you, I'm sorry," and she never heard from him again. And then they traced the phone. The last time they saw the phone was on was at the border in Gaza. Horrible things. It does not excuse this. There has to be another way. There has to be another way. And what Israel, rather, the Israeli government, because I don't want to say the Israeli people, because again, the people are different from the government. And Netanyahu is already a right-wing hot mess that a lot of the Israelis do not like. Their government is basically saying Egypt has to play ball. If the Palestinians want to live, then Egypt has to open their borders. And Egypt is saying, we're not going to open our borders. One, because we're going to invite instability into our country. Two, we have no idea how we would even support and care for 2 million refugees. And three, we are not going to help you facilitate another Nakba. This is too reminiscent of what happened. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to do that to another Arab country, which a lot of people, some people are saying that's a cop-out. And some people are saying Egypt just doesn't want to deal with the nonsense. So they're saying, oh no, this is too reminiscent of the history. I think it's both, honestly. Finally, an agreement has been reached, and U.S. officials have helped with this this deal to basically raise a UN flag at the Rafah border. So the Rafah border is the border of Gaza and Egypt. It's the only border that has the possibility of being open, because every other border is Gaza and Israel. And Israel is saying, there's no way in hell we're opening our borders. All right, so the Rafah border crossing between, they're going to raise a UN flag. All right, they're going to have international observers inspect aid trucks. There's trucks just sitting at this border. It has not gone over. This podcast is being recorded October 19th. As of right now, no aid has been let into Gaza. And folks are dying. They don't have water. They're rationing water out. They don't have food. Israel just bombed the largest bakery in the middle of Gaza, not in the north, but in the middle, where they were trying to feed folks. And now we get to this very contentious argument around a hospital that was bombed, the Al-Ahi hospital, where many Palestinians, because this isn't the first war, they seek refuge at hospitals. Hospitals are considered safe, neutral zones because international law deems them as such. If you bomb a hospital, it is a crime. This hospital was bombed. Okay? The Israeli government officials, military folks, took credit for this bombing. And then they was like, hold up. No, that wasn't us. And they deleted tweets. It's literally, it's playing out on fucking Twitter. Then there was a video that was played. Now, I have a clip. Maybe I should play the clip. I don't know why I'm so afraid to play so many clips. But Sim Kern, whose pronouns are they, them, they are a Jewish best-selling author here in the U.S. They've been doing a lot of posting and videos on social media that are very informative and concise. And this is what they had to say about the bombing.
Believing it would be safe because international law forbids the bombing of hospitals. But that same day, the Israeli military hit the hospital with rocket fire, and they admitted to it. The damage wasn't nearly as severe. There were only 4 wounded people. And so Israel had already told this hospital was going to be targeted and had targeted it. Immediately after the explosion, Naftali, this guy who's like a mouthpiece for the Israeli military and Israeli propaganda, took to Twitter to claim credit for the attack and brag that a multiple number of terrorists are dead. But then as outrage immediately exploded online as the horrific videos and images of gore inside the hospital were being released across the internet, this tweet was quickly deleted and replaced by this one, claiming that now the bomb was caused by the Islamic Jihad and with a video showing proof. But when a New York Times reporter pointed out that their proof video was time-stamped 40 minutes after the explosion in question, that video was also deleted and taken down. Also, shortly after the explosion, BBC correspondent John Donison, who reports from the ground in Gaza, said the rockets fired out of Gaza simply do not have the size and strength to create the kind of devastation that happened at the hospital. He said, quote, "We have never seen anything on the scale of this explosion that shook the hospital coming from the Palestinian side." Now, of course, he's being harshly criticized and his job may be in danger because he gave his honest opinion as a journalist, which contradicts imperialist propaganda. Finally, folks, just look at the bigger picture. A few days ago, Israel revealed they have dropped 6,000 bombs on Gaza in 6 days. For comparison, at the height of the war in Afghanistan, the U.S. dropped 7,423 bombs on Afghanistan, a country that is 1,787 times larger than Gaza, in a year. The hell we rained down on Afghanistan in 1 year has been dropped on one of the world's most densely populated areas in a week.
So CNN has done a lot of work in trying to dispel the idea that Israel dropped this bomb on the hospital. I don't believe that Israel didn't drop this bomb. I mean, they've got videos, they got all kinds of stuff. And I think even if it wasn't Israel, the larger conversation to me is, why is it that we don't trust our government or our media enough to even fucking believe them? Because they've lied to us before. So often. And here we are. Here we the fuck are. Mm-hmm. Regardless, none of this would be the case. There'd be no bombs being dropped. One, if Hamas didn't go in there. Hamas is a fucking problem. But also, this is not a way to get your hostages back. Your hostages, from what Hamas is saying, is they're being held in these underground tunnels. So you are essentially sacrificing your own people as well. And you're rooting out an evil, Hamas, that you funded in order to destabilize the PLO. And we can't get into that because we're already an hour in. But please, folks, look it up. Then you have fucking Biden. Robinette Joseph is on my motherfucking shit list. Oh. You hear me?
Oh.
Me and Biden are having problems.
Oh, not you and Joe.
And I'm not even handling them in house. I'm straight Jada Pinkett on his ass. I am mad.
I cannot.
I'm pissed. Biden, first of all,
what did he do?
Biden took his monkey ass over there, which everybody was
the next day.
Well, Biden was over there, right? Well, he was already planning to go over there, and then it got tricky because the fucking hospital was bombed. Nobody knew who did it. And then all of a sudden, his meeting with Jordan got canceled, but he went over anyway. And he went over there to 10 toes down. We stand with Israel. We will fight these barbaric terrorists, which Mark Lamont Hill had a good point, where be careful who you call terrorists. I personally do think Hamas are terrorists, but be careful who you call terrorists, because Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. He was on our terrorist watch list. Yeah. Okay? And when you start using words like barbarian and you start dehumanizing people, it makes it a lot easier to do that. To say we got to root them out. They ain't shit. Those really bad Arab Muslim people, they're dangerous. They'll come for us. We got to stay with our
That trope has already been set.
Hello.
Years ago.
So Biden goes over there. He's 10 toes down. He tries to toe the line.
Does
right?
He
does.
He calls it an explosion. No, it was done by the other team. What?
The other team, which is just the most callous and stupid remark. It was like, yeah, you are from Scranton. Yep. No. Shout out to Scranton. Apologies. But it was just like, bro, what are you? Have you not been anywhere? Why do you think that's what you say, you dummy? But he goes over there and he reiterates his unconditional support. Unconditional is a very tricky word because that means without condition. That means if you bomb a hospital, I still got your fucking back.
Yeah, girl.
Okay?
Yeah.
So he goes over there, reiterates his unconditional support for Israel's right to defend itself as a result of the carnage of Hamas.
Yeah.
Then he also makes mention that Hamas does not represent all of the Palestinian people, and that the
Okay.
Palestinian suffering
Sorry about that.
is real. Yeah, my bad. And that there needs to be aid let into Gaza. So Biden's goal in this trip, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, he needs to maintain the strategic partnership with Israel, one of the only allies of the U.S. in the region. And he needs to counsel restraint with crazy ass Netanyahu. Okay? That's, for everybody who doesn't know who Netanyahu is, that is Israel's prime minister. To avoid Iran and Lebanon and other Arab nations from entering the war. And then this explodes into a huge regional conflict. So, U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken, his ass was already over there. He had a 9-hour meeting. He wasn't really getting shit done. And then Biden, after this fucking speech about how we have to figure out how to get aid into Gaza, because he won't call it Palestine, to the Palestinians in Gaza, the U.S. vetoes a resolution for ceasefire and humanitarian aid with the UN. We were the only country to veto that shit. And the rationale was that we needed to let diplomacy play out. No, the issue in the resolution was that the UN was holding Israel accountable for their fucking war crimes. And the US couldn't get behind that because they didn't want to be associated with war crimes, even though we're the fucking masters of war crimes. Then Biden declares, and everybody's clapping for him. I couldn't fucking believe it. He declares that he's going to give $100 million in aid to the Palestinians in Gaza. Well, Biden is also planning on asking Congress for $100 billion. 60 of that will go to Ukraine, and then 40 of it will mostly go to Israel. But then a little bit of that 40 will also go to our U.S. border crisis. I need our folks to understand. I did this math and I sat here for about 30 minutes to try to figure this shit out. $100 million compared to $40 billion, which is what he's trying to give to Ukraine, which was he's proposing, is the equivalent of having $4,000 and giving somebody 10.
Girl, that's your net.
No, we're struggling.
Y'all don't go together no more.
I don't know. Listen, I told y'all, and this is where
in the meat and the potatoes of it.
This is where I feel insane, right? Because if I'm only voting for international policy, and I'm listening to the Congress, the only person to speak out about how the Palestinians are being treated is Bernie fucking Sanders.
No, there are other people that are saying
who? Because I ain't see it.
There's another woman. She's actually Palestinian, a senator that has been speaking out about it.
Rashida Tlaib. Yes. Listen, okay, you're right. I'm looking for white folks. I'm sorry. I'm looking for folks who. It's very easy for a fucking Palestinian to say this is wrong.
Yeah,
sorry.
very good, internet.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on. All right. Shanti, I want to know your thoughts on this because this is where I'm going to shut up. This is where I just think it's insanity because, again, local level, we got Biden or we got Trump. To me, no question. It's like, of course, bam, Biden got my vote.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting to me. That blows my mind.
Tell me.
That blows my mind that the narrative, the trope of Trump is worse than Biden at this point. When Biden is clearly showing and supporting some of the most vile and heinous acts of humanity and supporting it and funding it and lying to us and being duplicit and still building a wall. And Trump, the narrative of Trump is still scarier than Biden. And that just blows my mind. And I'm not saying vote for Trump, but really? Trump is really? Wow.
In my mind, yes.
That's wild.
In my mind, yes.
That's wild.
Trump was the one that moved the embassy to
wild to me.
To Jerusalem. to say this is Israel. Trump was the
because
one that incited that shit.
Because it's all the America is the number one importer of weapons, right? Mm-hmm. America's making so much money right now with the wars that are blooming in the Middle East, with Ukraine. America...
They're trying to make money with Saudi Arabia. That's why all this shit happened. Saudi Arabia was about to join up with Israel.
Just the idea that America moves from a place of humanity and care and honesty, integrity, it just is never going to happen. We're warmongers, and we are duplicit, and we're strategic, and it's always about resources, and it's always about politics. Always and forever. That's it. That is the driving force, whether you're a Democratic president, whether you're a Republican president, whether you're whatever the fuck you think. The agenda, the baseline direction, and the baseline intent of keeping America as a quote-unquote world superpower is always there. We're always going to move in ways to protect that. Like I said last year, the wheel is turning. And Biden ain't gonna break that wheel. Trump ain't gonna. They just keep it going. It's before Biden. It's gonna be after Biden. They don't care. They don't care, and I feel like it's a powerful thing that people are seeing that right now in real time, of being like, hey, you said this one thing, but you're doing something. You lied to us. You said that there was this video, and then there's not a video. You said that that it's clearly, you said you bombed this place, but then you said you didn't bomb this place. Do you see these kids dying? Do you see these people being murdered? Like, what the fuck? You're supporting that? Why? You're being duplicit. You're saying one thing about the importance of protecting Ukraine, but fuck these Palestinians. Like, it's just because it doesn't serve our interests. It does not serve capitalism. It does not serve keeping this wheel going. And I don't know what else to say. I'm not surprised by much of it. It makes perfect sense. It's wild that he's doing this, though, around election time. I'm just so curious.
What other option does he have?
I don't know. There's no other, but it's just wild how blatant it's happening, and how everyone similar to you is like, oh, we still gonna vote for this nigga though, because what other options do we have?
Well, here's my thing. And thank you for that. If I'm speaking as a human, it's all vile, and I feel the same way that you feel, right? Supporting mass genocide, it's a display of willful ignorance, inhumanity. Completely against it. Looking at it as a politician, this isn't me. I'm just saying this is the thinking, or what I believe to be the thinking. As a politician, Biden's over there, he's controlling the narrative. We talk about that all the time. He has hope, and he's going to pray that the war doesn't take a darker turn, and that he's going to be viewed as this strong president that went over to Israel at a time of war to fight these barbarian Islamic terrorists, and right now he's right. According to a NPR poll, 2/3 of Americans agree that we should be backing Israel unconditionally against these big bad Muslims. This is the narrative. 2/3 of this country feels that way. Well, we have students at U of Penn, at Harvard, all across the country holding walkouts, holding Free Palestine sit-ins, all kinds of things. And we have huge contributors to those schools pulling their funds as a result of this. There's no nuance in this fucking country. So this is the narrative, and that's it. We've already demoralized and dehumanized Muslims. And as far as that, Benjamin Netanyahu is probably the Trump of Israel. He's that far right. And we got to stand behind him because that's the only ally we have in the region because of all the terror we've caused over there. So
The
then
only
you have
option.
to consider.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Then if I'm considering this from a U.S. perspective, right? I think about, okay, Trump or Biden. Trump gets in, more chaos here for my everyday life. Biden gets in, maybe a little less chaos for my everyday life. Either one of them, chaos, fucking chaos in the world. I don't think Trump makes this any better. I don't think Trump going over there and trying to have any kind of diplomacy is a fucking joke. We'd have already been fighting with Iran. Like, period. In my opinion, he's that much of a nutcase. And he actually caused a lot more of the tension when he moved the embassy. So both are evil. Both are wrong. This is American fucking politics. And it's sickening. It's sickening. It's like, do I want more conservative Supreme Court justices on the fucking bench? This is what we're left with. And I understand the frustration of people because I feel it. I understand your frustration now more than ever when you say, this is all dumb. I'm not going to participate in this. It's absurdity. I get it. And this is where you have the chess versus checkers thing. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you do? What do we do? That's where the anger and the hopelessness comes from for me. The powerlessness. When it comes to foreign policy, I just feel fucking powerless.
I think that it's also this idea that the rational or the powerful thing lies within, this idea of, well, what else is America going to do, right? There's no other options. You have to play this game. This is just the way.
Oh no, there's other options. They're just not going to.
We're not going for it. I think what we're all committed to, what has been made the rational only choice is imperialism and capitalism. That is what all of this is being played out is imperialism, which is you go someplace else, you rip the culture up, you take their resources, you just conquer. That is what imperialism is. You go and you can go to another country, you destabilize them through finances or through military action. You replace their government if you can. Otherwise, you basically control them and you say what goes, basically. Yeah, you guys can have your little government, do your little religion thing. But when it comes down to resources, finances, military power, we're pulling all of the strings here. And
a lot of countries are imperialist.
It spreads. That is the name of the game. That's the name of the game now. That's the game that the world plays by. That is the wheel. That is the bus that we're on. And if you don't do that, then you get ran over, or you don't even have a weapon in this fight.
It's predator or prey. That's why the name of that last episode was that. That's how they view it. And I want to be real clear. I know that you and I know that there's other possibility, but the US will never do it. Ever. Because they're like, we're top dog and we're not gonna come off this throne. No, and as much as you and I hate it, we're complicit in it as well.
We're all in it.
Because we don't want to be
know what the
possibilities
are. I don't think we do know we don't know what the possibilities are.
I don't know what the possibilities are, but I have to imagine that there are some other ones.
Absolutely.
But not smart enough for that.
I think it's also really interesting how dumbfounded we are around how to bring about some kind of change. And I think it's very similar to hit folks where they hurt is with money. And I don't see a lot of conversations around boycotting. I think that was a movement for a really long time, was to boycott products and companies that support Israel. But this rhetoric around anti-Semitism and it being actually illegal to do that is very pervasive, and you can't even begin that kind of conversation and let it really, hopefully you can, because I think that's a game motherfucking changer, son. That's a game changer if people were to unite in that way and to boycott. I've seen some social media with listings of companies that you can consider boycotting, but I think that is probably the most effective thing in this moment, in this day and age, for folks all of us to really put our money where our mouth is and take a stand. But I don't even know if that is politically or legally possible right now. The way that
which is a whole other can of words.
Which is just like
a whole other can of words.
Not like what? Anyhow, child, girl.
Last but not least, these are just things to mention. We're not going into detail. I did put up a video by Mehdi Hassan. I think I'm saying his first name wrong. I love him. I watch him from time to time. He's on MSNBC, but he's on the sidelines right now. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Via The Intercept, February 20th, 2018, he did a video with them explaining just how Israel used Hamas to destabilize Palestine. Posted that on Patreon for the patrons. Won't go into it, even though I really want to. I won't. Also, Republicans pick Jim Jordan.
Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
We send money to Israel every year, exorbitant amounts of money. We helped fund Hamas in that same way.
Our tax dollars.
America's weapons will probably be found on both sides. So that's even more fucked up, that America is probably, you'll find weaponry that could be traced back to American sources on both Hamas, Iran, all of these so-called, militant terrorist groups. Where are they getting their weapons from, son? America is the pusher man.
I want to be really clear is that Israel was funding Hamas in the 1980s in order to destabilize the PLO, right? That when Hamas became what it is and they started to be like, holy shit, they're a little too strong, then they started to move against Hamas, and Iran started to fund Hamas. So you may find some, but yes, Israel funded them through our U.S. dollars. Israel, I wouldn't think is still funding them, but who the
no. I'm just saying that the funding. What funding means to buy stuff, right? To buy weapons, right? And the number one importer of weapons is the U.S. So it's like all these monkeys gotta eat, but they're all eating what? Where are they getting all of this food from? It's like
the U.S. isn't doing business with Iran though.
Directly, not necessarily directly.
Okay, I just want to make that clear. I just don't want to
weapons. Yeah,
that's fine. I just don't want to confuse folks about who's a lot allied with who. That's all.
Right. Maybe not direct funds, but in terms of weaponry.
Okay. And then lastly, can't get into it. Republicans picked Jim Jordan, his incompetent ass who's never passed one bill in his fucking life, to be the House Speaker, and he's already failed 2 votes. So we have an impending government shutdown, November 17th. And he lost the second time around. Oh, it was only a 45-day resolution to keep the government open. Yeah, that's what we were talking about last time. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But Jim Jordan is a hot-ass mess, and he's handpicked by Marjorie Taylor Greene and them. And Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor, when those beautiful Jewish folks were there saying, not in my name, they were protesting our support of Israel's military response in Gaza, and she was on video screaming that it was an insurrection. Can you fucking believe that? Yeah, it's just absurdity all around. But let's get off of this before I lose my fucking mind. Let's get into pop culture, please. Before we never get to it, because we are an hour and 15 minutes in. But pop culture, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Tracy G thing that I saw, my girl? Do you want to start with Lupita? Actually, where do you want to start?
Let's talk about Lupita before we go to Jada. Jada, stay in our mouths.
I'm
child.
not talking about Jada. I'm talking about Tracy's question. I refuse to talk about Jada. Go ahead, you bring up Lupita. I've been talking too much.
Apparently Lupita made a public announcement. Bow, bow, bow. That's
What
which
was
is
that? It's the
interesting.
public announcement music.
Yeah.
It sounded like a bad porno. You know how like the old 80s pornos, they would come in like showing
She
myself.
said, there are much more important things going on in the world right now, and my thoughts are with those who are deeply suffering.
Amen.
At this moment, it is necessary for me to share a personal truth and publicly disassociate myself from someone I can no longer trust. I find myself in a season of heartbreak because of a love suddenly and devastatingly extinguished by deception. I am tempted to run into the shadows and hide, only to return to the light when I have regained my strength enough for me to say, whatever, my life is better this way. But I am reminded that the magnitude of the pain I am feeling is equal to the measure of my capacity for love. And so, I am choosing to face the pain, cultivating the courage to meet my life exactly as it is and trusting that this too shall pass. The promise, they say, is that a tender heart is what gives birth to fearlessness. I hope it's true. I share this to keep it 100 and hoping that the knowledge of my experience might be useful to someone else out there experiencing the grip of heartbreak who is poised to try and escape from the pain and miss out on the wisdom that comes from it. #breakup. I'm sorry.
Why would you do that? Let's face our pain so we don't spread it, you bitch.
She said #breakup. Girl!
Go ahead, you go first, because obviously I have a different take on this.
That's what's up, girl. I'm sorry. All right. Cool. She said, let me get to this before the shade room does, okay?
No, the shade room got to it because she was out with Joshua Jackson. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
You ain't
Dawson's motherfucking Creek, son.
Yeah, who just announced his little divorce. His black badass
We
wife.
don't know that that's jumping to conclusions. We don't know
I'm
that they
saying
was all
that's
doing
why
together.
that is not jumping to conclusions. That is why she said this. So she was like, all right,
We
well,
broke up with that black man. He did her dirty. What he do to you, Lupita? She said
and then he was all hype. That man gonna go ahead and tweet talking
fumbled
about
it.
I'm on a plane with Lupita. Somebody help me, tell me what to say.
Oh,
and then
God.
you fumbled
You
it.
fucked it up. Said the dumbest shit ever.
You had one job and you couldn't do it. And Lupita is
She went publicly blasted. She said, my
Stop.
love has been devastatingly extinguished by deception.
Let me tell you
A
something.
liar, cheater,
Stop.
deceiver. Damn. Lupita was on there. She was like, she was on her stories going in, bro. Screenshotting it and reposting it. We know how you did it, girl.
Stop
Wow.
it now.
No, I get it.
Stop
She's
it
controlling
now.
the narrative. Everybody's saying, yes, girl. Damn. He said, how can he fuck this up? She is bad, sexy, and all the above. Dudes
Had
be
one
messing
job.
it up for everybody. Sorry to hear that. Lupita said, I know. Excuse me. What Kanye saying to that?
I don't know. I'm gonna let you cook on this because you cracking me the fuck up.
Kanye was like, excuse me. What did he say when he interrupted Taylor Swift?
I'm gonna let you finish, but
I'm gonna let you finish about all this Gaza shit. But
that's not
I just got my
funny.
heart broken, and I need y'all to know.
That's not
He
funny.
said, hold up.
That's
I ain't
not
gonna hold this in.
funny. And you're the only person that can somehow say that and I not be mad. Look at Marlon Wayne's hype ass trying. He tried to get into
That's
get
what
her
she
pants.
said. She said, shit
"Trust
wild
God,
right now."
He wants better for you. All lessons are blessings, especially the painful ones. This too shall pass.
Somebody said, I
What?
mean, I wasn't a fan, so congratulations.
Oh
Because
my
who the fuck
God.
was he? Who
Ava
was that
wrote
nigga
her.
though? Yo, who
Stop.
was that nigga?
Stop.
Yo, for real. Who
Stop.
was that nigga? Wait a minute, I just remember who he was. Who was he?
You are doing that status thing I don't like now.
No, I'm not. I
Yes,
just
you
said,
are.
who
You
was
just
he?
said.
Just
Were they married? I'm nervous. Were they married? Because that'll make me really sad. Ava DuVernay said, "We lift you up with love and
Selima.
sisterhood." You just called him Selena? That's not his-
Selima.
Who was he?
Selima Masakela. Damn. I know he over there with his legs between his tail.
That's not how
Tail
that goes.
between his legs. Yo, who is he? Where you from though?
Shanti.
What you got to say about it? Because I ain't got.
I'm done. I don't want to mess it up. Because that was amazing. I needed that. I really did. I needed it, and I thank you for it. Because I haven't laughed like that in a
Let me
fucking
see
while.
who posted on him. They
Oh yeah, are they
probably
under his
good.
page, or did he private his shit? He didn't make it private. She got all the celebrities under there. Like, you are a girl, fuck him.
What Jada said something? Jada probably like, girl, speak the truth, girl.
Jada said, drag him and get free.
He's 52 years old too.
52, still acting up. Oh my God. And Lupita is
Oh,
the
his father is Hugh Masakale. His father's a famous South African musician. Cause my dad used to listen to him. I don't know how to say his name. Damn, South Africa.
I don't have nothing to say. I was gonna say something nice, but you.
What were you going to say? That it was good. It was good. She said that, right?
I can't take you seriously because you don't feel that way. So I don't want to say how I feel.
No, Antoinette, we need
No.
duality. I am a cold person. I have no heart.
Damn, DC Nash said you are not alone.
Uh-oh,
Yikes.
what happened to Niecy?
I don't know, but all I know is
Everybody
Niecy
gonna
and
come
her
out
girlfriend bad as shit. They better stay together now. Listen, what I think it's really irrelevant. We need to stop paying attention to these celebrities so much. But what I thought was beautiful about it was that last thing that you didn't even read was let's face our pain so we don't spread it. And I also think it's interesting that these celebrities, when they break up with somebody, they got to make a whole public service announcement. It's so sad. You know? That sucks. They can't just break up. They got to she posted 7 stories.
She did. She was typing.
And it was beautifully written, I thought. Anyway, and I think she handled this really well, especially considering the fact that there are much bigger things to talk about. Lupita can do no wrong. I wish her well. I'm mad at him, and I don't even know what he did, but I'm mad.
Whatever he did, she controlling the narrative now. He got to recover for whatever he did.
Ooh, Perez Hilton is on here giving her love.
What Perez say?
He sent her a whole meme, a whole gift thing that says, I wish I could hug you. It's not funny.
Right.
This is sad though. I can't imagine. You know how sad I be when I break up. Well, I can't even remember. It's been so long. But when something don't
You be
work out,
fucked up.
I be fucked up. Down bad.
I don't wanna
imagine
tell
if I was a
nobody,
celebrity. Yeah, you be like, it took you a long time to even tell me that you was broken up. I said, you been broken up for how long? A month. You were like, yeah.
Was it a month?
It wasn't a month, but it was not the day of. You would only tell me the day of stuff like when you knew I was gonna get back together or something. Anyway, let's not tell your business. You'd be like, call me like that. I'd be like, all right, let me know when you talk to him, all right? Anyway, I want Lupita to be okay.
She is okay, apparently. She gonna be okay. She spoke it into existence.
Amen.
She said, I'm hurt, but don't count the kid out.
I don't know who the fuck this is. So, do you want to talk about this thing?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna play a clip, and I don't want this to be about Jada Pinkett. Please don't say nothing about Jada Pinkett, Shanti. It's not about Jada Pinkett. All right.
All right.
Just resist the urge. Not that I'm hating on Jada, because Will just came out and said, "This is my best friend." I don't know what y'all talking about, and we gonna be all right.
He
So
did?
Will said it. He did. He's at a book. He's at a whole book event. Like, y'all, this is my best friend, and I'm proud of her and this book. So shut up. And he said it was hard for him to read some of it, but he needed to. He needed to know about himself. Stop. It's not about them. Next. Here you go. Okay.
Jada, it's so interesting, the responses to your interviews, to their book. On one side, which is the side that I reside on, I can really feel that this is in service to your soul and in service to the souls of others.
That's right.
And that you want to use your story to, in your own words, show other people how they can recognize their own worth.
Yeah.
Then we have another side that's like, Jada, why are you emasculating your husband?
Again.
Why is there all this oversharing, et cetera, et cetera? And the question that comes to mind for me is something only sacred if it's private? Can something remain sacred when it is shared publicly? And also, what is the definition of oversharing for you?
I thought that was such a great question by my girl Tracy G. Shout out to Tracy G.
Go ahead,
Very
Tracy.
kind soul, who we've only met a couple times, but she's just so generous and kind to me when I do see her. What do you think?
What's the
What do
question
you
again?
think?
Can something only be considered sacred if it's private?
And how do you? Nah, I didn't forgot it because of you. How do you? You had one job.
Damn.
Was to listen to the question. But basically, how do you deal? Like, how do you manage?
What is oversharing?
There you go. For
I
you,
think about-
everything's sacred
No.
in private.
I think something that is sacred is when it is in service. It's a deep, it's a universal truth that can be, that is relatable to all humans and is like a lesson, not necessarily a lesson, but it's like a relatable balm to all people, right? When I think about sacred ritual, when I think about mantras, when I think about sacred practices, it's like this. It often is sacred because it is shared and it like taps into this collective expansion or growth or healing. Yeah, and maybe the experience of that can also be very private as well. You know what I mean? So it can be, I think it can be both. I think we have somehow made that perverse by thinking that just because it's our quote unquote truth, that if we share it with the world, it's somehow like this really impactful thing, like assuming that. I am strongly against oversharing to the point that I don't share anything. So I'm at a I'm doing better. That's not true. I'm doing much better. I think it's a really thin. What's the word? It's a hard thing to do. Of being able to share something that feels relatable and in service of everyone, and also not doing like an ego thing of like talking about yourself or talking about your pain, talking about victimhood, or talking about even being a hero and overcoming it. Like it's a really
Centering it.
centering yourself. It's a really thin rope to walk, and it's very rare It's super impactful when it happens, child. It's amazing. But I don't know, something about Jada rubbing everybody the wrong way, and I
I
believe the
said
collective. Oh,
don't
oh, she's an example though.
make this about Jada.
Sorry. Some about this moment feels.
Girl, you can't.
Don't feel like a collective healing.
Girl.
So, what do you think?
Want to hear the definition of sacred?
Come on.
Connected with God or gods, or dedicated to a religious purpose, and so deserving veneration. You know what veneration means?
Exalting, lifting him up, and
Yeah.
hallelujah.
Great
Celebrate.
respect, reverence.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So when you said that it's a truth, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Because I feel like the closer we are with our truths, the closer we are to God. The more that we're walking with God and tapped in. Sacred to me did imply secret. It's sacred or private. It's something I keep close. And I think when we see people who are able to have sacred moments and live them out loud and share them, we question it. We question the validity. We question especially people who are able to monetize from that, right? From any
that
sort
part.
of pain.
That part.
We question the validity. We question the authenticity. We question if it's really close to God. Because if it is, then we're like, well, why isn't that yours? But then I question that. Why are we hoarding that?
Yeah.
Why is that something that we shouldn't talk about when we have these revelations? And I also thought about sacred in terms of it being private and secret. Some things are sacred. When I hear that, some things are sacred. A lot of men have said that to me. Some things are sacred, and I've had many a relationship with men where there needed to be a lot of secrecy
Around
just our relationship, or they weren't comfortable. It's just, but it was under the guise of sacred. And I'm questioning that a lot in my life.
Interesting.
I realized
Sacred? If a nigga says sacred, tricky. But if private, that's another thing.
sacred.
That's tricky.
I know.
This is so tricky. Peter,
Yes.
I hear you, queen.
Yes, a little hotep. They add a little razzle dazzle of hotep on there, and then I was like, "Oh, sacred, he loves
Sacred,
me."
Yeah, bitch, stop telling my business.
Right? Really? You saying shut the fuck up?
Yeah, I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to have
Any access
see
to me.
Access to me. You know, some things you're revealing who I am to people. The parts that
Or who I'm not.
Which is that's their business, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. So that's why it's
But
tricky.
sacred, nigga,
You set up on
Private.
that.
private.
I'd rather that. I think also to switch gears, and it doesn't even have to be romantic. I was thinking about how many men recently. I was sitting down, and especially around my birthday, I was thinking about Jada and the backlash around Jada, and Jada speaking up about her life, her experiences, and maybe even some disappointment with Will, whatever. And how people are like, yo, why you telling all his business? You emasculating him, you this, you that, you cutting him down, you beating his ass, right? Heard a lot of that. Really, like, there's a podcast where, like, one of the guys said, can't we all just admit that Jada is beating Will's ass? And I was like, yo, terrible. Here's the thing. I'm starting to question that because in my mind, I'm one of these people too that I think I'm very open. I think I try to share for the sake of others, or I just think on this podcast out loud because I feel close to you, and then it goes out in the world and I'm like, well, it's out. But there are some things that I don't talk about because I want to protect the people around me. And there are men in my life, one in particular, who hurts me and who has been hurting me and disappointing me because they either refuse or they're incapable of fully loving me or showing up the way that I need them to. And they used to show up fully for me. And I want it so badly back. And I want to talk about it so badly. I want to talk about how hard it is. And I won't. Probably until the day I or they die, I hold it close to protect them, their legacy, and their image that they've worked so hard to create. And that doesn't feel sacred anymore when I look up the definition of sacred.
Does in your withholding and protection, are you talking about on this public platform, or just even to people that you...
Both. Even to people, I keep it close.
Not
but I don't really
though.
talk about it.
No, you don't. You cut it off real fast.
Because I think, too, that there's a deep hope that they'll come back to who they once were. And that if they were to do that, I can't have these other narratives out there in my mind. I just can't. Or maybe it makes it real. I don't know. But there's something about what women like Jada or Gabrielle Union or whoever who just telling they fucking business that I know we reject, but there's something about it that even I reject. I rejected. Like, my initial thing was like, yo, Jada, shut the fuck up. Because now you're just inviting all these people in your business, right? And that's tricky. But there's something about the ability to do it, to say it.
To bring language and emote and release and express how you feel in that moment or in your moments past.
And then to have the person that you're talking about say, you're still my best friend. I needed to hear this. I know that J. Cole ain't saying that Will and Jada love, but baby, it's something to be said about that shit.
Talk about it. You better exalt it. Hallelujah. Yeah,
I don't know. But it's something to be said about it.
Yeah, I agree.
That somebody can sit there.
Capacity to hold.
The capacity to hold and to deal with all the other stuff. All like this narrative that he built up, this image that he built up is being knocked down by her truth that he still is willing to honor, because I think that he knows it's truth. And he's
it's a nice ego death
owning
for him.
it.
I love that.
I don't know.
Because the ego, yeah.
I don't know.
That shit ain't true. Some of it ain't true about him.
Yeah.
And it's all just forcing everybody to this is the shit that's been fucking me up lately. It's a collective practice of holding two things at once. Will is all that. We love him. He's a brilliant being. He brings so many people joy and happiness and comfort, his familiarity, his talent. But also he probably was on some fuck shit. And also he's capable of disappointing and harm as well.
And so is she. And we said this wasn't going to be about Will and Jada, but I think they're teaching us.
They're teaching us. I don't know how you... Yeah, it just requires an ego death. It really requires an ego death for everybody involved. Of being like,
I don't know.
This is how I feel, and I still love this person, but also I have to say these things because otherwise I'm withholding and not being honest to
Not being
myself.
close to God. It ain't sacred no more.
Huh? It's even closer to God because it's out.
I'm saying if I'm withholding it,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. You're hiding. And then, this other person is having this opportunity to be seen, but still loved as well. Because if you're saying it in a way that they're being you're dismissing them, or you're making that their error is their identity, that's not love. But it's also like, hey, you're doing this thing, or this thing is causing harm, but also I still love you. It's not punitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to be seen in such a vulnerable way publicly, wow, that's wild for them.
And ridiculed, not just
And
seen.
ridiculed and made fun of and abandoned. We abandoned people. We so unwell collectively. Woo!
My thing on the thing is, and we talked about this, and I've been unpacking it slowly, I was like, I don't know if Jada's emasculating him or if we are.
Girl,
we're doing it.
Yeah, we are.
We're putting the memes
We're the ones
up.
that's fucked
They're
up.
hilarious.
They're
But
just
we're the
mirroring
ones
back
doing
to
it.
us. Yeah, they're mirroring back to us what we really think about it more than anything. Damn it. Listen.
That's it. That's all I got this episode. They said don't worry about us not knowing how to end it. Somebody wrote that on Patreon. It made me feel good. I sent you that. I didn't know you were going to put it on the outline, but I sent you that
That blew
video.
my mind. Antoinette sent me a text and said these girls out here, they looking at Taylor like she's Britney Spears. And then there was just a sequence of Britney Spears killing it, doing a little notch down, maybe like 7 notches down from Janet's talent and superiority, but she hitting the moves.
No, I think it's like 3 notches. It ain't even 7, boo. Britney was up there. Britney was up there.
I don't know.
It's like
That's
3 to
debatable.
4. It ain't 7.
5.
Britney,
Let's stay on 5.
I'm 4.
But Britney was getting it.
And they think that Taylor's it.
And they think Taylor doing that. They think Taylor.
They think Taylor.
Is Britney.
They think Taylor is Beyonce. And look at us doing it again because Beyonce just went to the movie with her and was like, we all good.
She told us to stop it.
And
but
we won't.
I had to understand. This is part of me unpacking. These girls think that she's Britney.
She is their Britney.
That's a shame. Because that girl ain't nowhere near the Britney.
And you know that there are certain people in this generation, we got to stop because this is late, but there's certain people in this generation who don't know Britney for Britney. They know Britney now. They don't know Britney then.
Slinging them knives. She's still talented as fuck. You can't dance with no Suzuki knives, nigga. Not cut yourself. Spinning in your underwear. You could never.
The way she wear the underwear cracks me
That
up.
underwear.
She won't pull them up on her hip.
You won't even get a bikini cut either.
She won't do it. It's the hip hugger underwear. She said, I'm not.
Hip huggers.
She's stuck in the 90s. She said, this underwear is staying. If it's not 3 inches under my navel, I'm not wearing it.
Then there's some skims.
Why Kim don't
savages?
That would be so smart.
She would kill it. And
she would eat it up.
High waisted. We would be like, okay, fuck it up, Brittany.
Speaking of Brittany, you saw her come out and say that she had an abortion.
What?
That was so sad.
Recently?
She said that. No, she had it back in the day when she was
by
with
Timberlake.
He fucking up.
Ooh.
He fucking up.
He is a bad man, real bad
No,
man.
he's not.
Yes,
See, we are not the equivalent of our mistakes, bitch.
I'm not there yet. I ain't involved.
He's not. He just said, I'm not ready to be a father. And they went up. I don't think it makes them bad. We can't
I don't even know the whole story.
that.
I apologize.
But one day I'm going to get on here and be maybe I am problematic on here, but I just want to, maybe I need an edible. That's what I'm freed up.
Why you calling me problematic?
You are problematic, but you're so sweet that nobody would ever
About what did I say that was problematic? About Lupita? That's exactly what she did.
You laughed in that girl's sorrow. That's why we should run it back. I'm going to listen to an episode and just text you all the things when you that you say.
There's some truth to it.
It is. That's
you know? It's some
It
truth to
is.
that's exactly what she said.
It's
She said, I
sacred.
know
It's
this
closer
shit
to
crazy
God.
right now, but I got it in breakout. I just broke up. And I'm in pain.
Listen, that's why
Nigga
they
broke my
love you.
heart.
That's why they love you. You're sacred. You're close to God. You're truth teller.
That's what she did. And I
She
appreciate
said,
it.
I know that the world is on fire, but so is my
Well,
heart.
my nigga cheated on me. Fuck him. Damn, Peter.
All right, come on. We're done.
All right.
Oh my God, bye.
Bye. We got
Got
a
us
whole
getting off the
episode.
phone. Bye. Why would we go? Okay,
get off the
bye.
phone.
Bye. We got a whole other episode. You're right. Let me get these voicemails together. What is sacred, girl? I don't know if anything I do is sacred anymore. I don't know if anything I do is close to God. I'm fucking up.
Girl.
Spiritually.
Nah.
Somebody hit us up like, you should really try to get Mark Lamar Hill on the podcast. I said, get him
We
on there
could.
then. Hit him up.
We could.
I will
You'd
never
be
forget
surprised.
Freedom School. They was eating him the fuck up at a Freedom School training. And I had to
Who
go take
was?
the mic from him. The back in the day, I was in college. The trainees, he was doing a workshop and they did not like what he was saying. I forget what it was about.
The kids?
They weren't kids, they were college students, and they was like, ho, 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 and they started booing him and stuff. And
What
I
was
went,
he talking about?
I can't fucking remember for the life of me. I wish I could. And I remember I went up and I asked him, I said, give me the mic. And I had to calm the crowd
He's
down.
probably saying some anti-hotep stuff like women do not need to listen to men and the black family
No, he was
is
probably
more than
saying
just
some hotep
heterosexual
stuff.
normal. It's not just men and women. That's probably like, boo!
No,
Get your
that's
queer
not
ass
how it
out of
was.
here.
Is it me or never mind.
Take it off record because of what you was going to say.